All right, I'd like to call to order this meeting of Lewisburg Area Board of School Directors. We would all rise for pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. The board met in executive session for about 30 minutes this evening to receive the annual safety report. We have everyone but Ms. Lyons is excused this evening, and Dr. Mattis, you can see, is joining us via Zoom. That's all the announcements for now. I think we have fun stuff next. This is Melissa.
All right. It's spring sport athlete recognition time. Mr. Long is going to assist us in our effort. We're happy to celebrate the accomplishments of tennis and spring track, boys and girls. Mr. Long.
Sure. Thank you. So this is a fun time, as Mrs. Moser said, that we get to celebrate the athletes that competed in the state level of their respective sports. This spring we had 6 boys track athletes and 7 female track athletes, and then the tennis team and several individuals on the tennis team compete at the state level. So we're going to start tonight with the girls team, with the girls track team. So we'll start tonight with Coach Espinoza. So I'd like to call Coach Mike Espinoza and the 7 athletes that qualified for the PIAA state AAA championships that were held on Memorial Day weekend at Lewisburg University. So Coach Espinoza and a couple of people want to come up and say a couple words about the season. I have certificates for the athletes and a special certificate here for
you. Good. Make it here. Oh, wonderful. They're the real stars, right? So, thank you so much for having us here to recognize us this evening. I'd like to say a few words, and then I'll open it up to one of our captains to say some words as well. So, though we are specifically recognizing their accomplishments during the postseason run, certainly it all begins with a dream and many goals at the start of the season. And it's extremely difficult and challenging to see those goals all the way through. And I'm especially proud of this group of young women to have seen those goals through all the way to the end of the season with an opportunity to compete at the state championship level. So to provide a little bit of context about how our athletes earned their way to that state meet here at the district meet, we had a number of individual and relay champions, as well as school record holders, and so it was very exciting. It led off Thursday of districts. Our 4x800 meter relay team won that event and qualified for the state championship meet. And then the following that night, also Tegan O'Sunday defended her title and won the javelin at the district meet as well. That following Saturday, Bailey Espinosa won the 2-mile, 3,200 meter run and set a new district record in doing so to qualify for the state meet. Then shortly after that, Jenna Binney won the 1,600 meter run, set a new district record in that event and qualified for the state championship meet. Later, not too much later than that, Caroline Blakesley set a new school record in the 400 meter dash, breaking a time that was a mark that was set very recently as well by recent alum Lena Malone. Caroline Blakesley qualified for the state championship meet in the 400, came back a little bit later, qualified for the state championship meet in the 200 meter dash as well. I think I let me out of this in terms of how you got to states. And then at the state championship meet, it was an honor to have the opportunity for each of them to compete. I'll take a moment to recognize say, the crowning jewel of the season and the standout performance, not just of the state meet, but standout performance of the season. Tegan O'Sunday, who had set the school record in the javelin earlier in the season, capped off her season by finishing 3rd place in the state in the javelin. So congratulations, Tegan. Tegan will be competing at New Balance Nationals this weekend as well. So thank you for giving me this time to celebrate our athletes. Captain Jenna Binney has a few words to share.
Thank you so much to the school board administrators and to our community for supporting our team this year. This season, despite prior reclassification as a AAA school and facing more difficult state qualifying standards, our team rose to the occasion and was able to send multiple individuals as well as one relay to the state meet this year. And thank you so much to our parents and teachers and many supporters attending all of our meets and cheering us on and encouraging us throughout the season. And thank you especially to our coaches for all the hard work and dedication they poured into the season, and we couldn't have accomplished any of this without you.
Carol? All right, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, at this time, we're going to honor the boys track and field athletes that qualified for the PIAA Class AAA state championships at Lewisburg. Head coach Ron Hess was unable to be here tonight. Presenting those members of the team that qualified in his absence is assistant coach Jessica Hess. The members of the team are Jonathan Hess, Jacob Gose, Kieran Murray, Justin Knoll, Eli Calbear, sorry, I didn't say that right, and Gabriel Ayers. So guys, and Coach Hess, if you want to come up.
So thank you for the opportunity to pitch it tonight. Ron regretfully can't be here, and we're excited to celebrate these boys and the entire team. But I am going to read exactly what Ron wrote, because he took the time to do so. And we have very different styles, so I will best represent his own words. I regret that I was not able to attend the board recognition this evening and am appreciative of Coach Jessica Hess reading this statement in my absence. I would like to begin by thanking the board, Mr. Long, Mrs. Hoover, Mrs. Reber, Assistant Superintendent Hoover, and Superintendent Moser. There are so many others as well that deserve my appreciation, and I recognize that my coaching, this team's success, and an individual athlete's experience are not independent of the support and work of many, many others. I'm grateful to be a part of such a rich history of Lewisburg Area School District Athletics track and field program. So thank you for the opportunity. You put an exclamation, which is like a big deal. My first thought about this team is that this was really a fun year. It was a relatively small team, but the athletes had a great connection. We ended with just under 50 athletes on the boys' side. That is as small of a group as we have had since I have worked with the team. But as life often reveals, when one door closes, another opens, and so even though large numbers are what I desire, having a group of 50 athletes made it feel very tight-knit, and even between groups. I felt as head coach, I was able to have a relationship with each and every athlete on the team. The interaction of all these guys was so fun to witness. It felt like one big family. Exclamation. Our junior class was very impressive. Just as our total numbers were kind of an anomaly, another very interesting thing that was apparent about this team. Our 11th grade athletes made up the largest portion, and this has never happened for me previously. Typically, it's the younger grades that have the numbers as athletes try their luck at a new sport, and as the years pass, it narrows a bit. But this year, so many upperclassmen had stuck it out and that means really good things in terms of wins. In fact, we went 6-1 this season. When the bulk of your team is seasoned, trained, and dedicated, positive performances happen. It has been so fun to watch these guys come into their own, and I cannot wait to see what our biggest class is at the height of their high school career. In celebrating these athletes tonight, I want to acknowledge that these athletes rose to the top of a very strong team in a very strong district in the strongest classification, AAA, in one of the top 5 track states in the country. They are elite high school athletes, and it's exciting to work with so many of them as a coach. If you've not heard their accomplishments, I will list them quickly. But then he thought it was cute to write in red ink, and our printer was dying. So now we're gonna switch here real quick. Our individual states qualifiers were Jacob Gose and Jonathan Hess. Jacob threw the shot put 52 feet, 5.5 at the districts and was district runner-up. The throw met the state standard, which was 52 feet, 0 inches. Jacob threw 50, 11.25 inches at states to place 15th. Jonathan Hess was a district champion in 4 events. He won the mile in 4:22.16 and qualified for states by winning the districts in that event. He won the 800 meters in 1:57.5, and he won, I'm gonna shorten this up, and he also won the 3,200 meters in 9:29.8, all to qualify for states. He was a member of the 4x8 team that won at districts with a time of 7:58.89. And Jonathan chose to focus on the 16 and 32 at states, allowing Gabe Ayers to compete in the 4x8 at states. John ran a 4:15.87 in the 16 to finish 16th, and a 9:11.55 to finish 11th in 32 at states. Kieran Murray, Justin Nolt, and Eli Calbear were the other participants in the championship 4x8 at districts, and the team of Kieran Murray, Justin Nolt, Eli Calbear, and Gabe Ayers ran 8:35.3 to place 30th at states. If you have heard their accomplishments, you know the type of effort it takes to be at this level. And as a coach, I was very proud of the work and effort given by every athlete in this group. Thank you all so much for having us here this evening. Best, Ron Hess. And Jacob is prepared to share some reflections.
It seems like Coach Hess and I think a lot alike because we said a lot of similar things. Good evening. I'd like to start my short segment by giving thanks to the school board and all administrative personnel. So the ability to use the facilities are also muchly appreciated, especially the weight room, the track, and the middle school gym when the weather isn't ideal. This year I was one of 7 captains, myself representing the throws program, and then Hanif and Tyler Kitchens representing the sprints and hurdles. Ezra Zook mainly representing pole vault while also assisting in racing windings and jumps. Brady and Kieran Murray also representing the distance program. Kieran and I were the only captains to make states this year. And at the beginning of the season, every captain chose a specific word to represent themselves and a good aspect of the team. And I chose perseverance, which kind of showed up a little more than even I hoped. So from the very first practice, there was adversity. I injured my ankle. And then a little later in the season, I also tweaked my back. And then the day of the district meet, my shot put was impounded, which means I had to borrow someone else's. But even through all that, like has been said, I qualified for states. With us being AAA, only the district champ goes to states unless you meet the qualifying standard. So I knew I had to throw that. And on the day of the meet, I showed up through a 1.5 PR in order to make it. So that was really great. And I was accompanied by the 4x8 team, consisted of members already listed, and Johnny Hess. I feel like many at track meets, like the throws program and track are separated. But at states, we're very close. Obviously, we're sleeping in the same rooms as each other. And I was able to see him run on the track, which I usually don't get to be able to do. And they were able to cheer me on in the circle, so I'm very grateful for that. Like we said, we had a very small team this year, so we were able to end the season 6-1 in a class where we were severely outnumbered. So that's great for us. And like you said about connections, like nobody was really an outsider of the group. I feel like everybody had a place, everybody had friendships, and people who transcended groups. I think groups which usually doesn't happen. It's usually throwers stick together, sprinters stick together, but I feel like I had a connection with almost everybody on the team this year. And also thanks to Coach Espinosa's enthusiasm and the school board's cooperation, we will have a new track next year, which I'm looking forward to. And so I'd also like to thank all the coaches at this time for all their time and effort and dedication hoping to get us as best as we can be. Thank you for your time, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you for those remarks. I'll give you a certificate here. Okay, thank you. On to boys tennis. So, Coach Lopavetsky could not be here tonight. He's mentioned something about preparing for a wedding or some small event in his life. So I guess we'll excuse him. So I see Will and Sarah are here, so if you guys want to come up, is there any other tennis player? Come on up, fellas. So I'll read Coach Lopavetsky's words. He shared with me what he wanted to, or he emailed me what he wanted to have shared tonight regarding recap of the Lewisburg boys tennis season for 2024. The team, the Green Dragons went undefeated in the regular season 16-0 and went undefeated in the team district tournament 3-0. The Green Dragons defeated Danville Ironman 4-1 to be crowned District 4 AA team champions. Lewisburg went on to defeat Wild Mission 5-0 in the first round of the team state tournament and advanced to the quarterfinals. Lewisburg took its first team loss to the eventual PIAA AA champions Lancaster Country Day School by a score of 3-1 in that quarterfinal match. Counting both regular season, district tournament, and state tournament, the Green Dragons went 20-1 as their final record. Lewisburg ended the season tying overall success with the Lewisburg boys tennis team of 2013, who were able to advance to the quarterfinals in the team tournament, eventually losing 4-0 to Sewickley Academy. The Green Dragons completed their second regular season with an undefeated record of 17-0 and 16-0 respectively. So a district record, including the district playoffs, so up to that point for the last two seasons, their record is 38-1 for the last 2 years. Quite impressive. As far as the singles go, Lewisburg Green Dragons had a regular season singles win record of 45-3, with players such as Eddie Monaco, Will Cicchini, Sar Vishwakarma, Alexei Rosenberg, and Kenyon Schwarzentroober all contributing to the 45-3 record. Singles players went undefeated throughout the district tournament, 8-0. Third singles was stopped early due to the match being decided by the district quarterfinals. Singles players in the team state tournament went 4-1, with one match stopped early due to a match winner being decided. Eddie Monaco and Will Cicchini represented the Lewisburg Green Dragons in the 2024 District 4 AA singles tournament. Eddie finished the tournament with a 4-0 record and was crowned the District 4 singles champion, and went on to represent District 4 in the PIAA AA singles state tournament in Hershey, PA. Eddie Monaco, a senior, capped off his senior year by winning his third straight District 4 AA singles tournament. Will finished second in the tournament to Eddie. So let me just add that in case you aren't following along. So we had two finalists in the tournament, in the singles tournament. He finished out with a 3-1. This would be the second year in a row where Will finished as the runner-up to the District 4 singles tournament champion, who was Eddie Monaco. So 2 years in a row, lost to his own teammate. Though it may need confirmation, it's believed that Eddie Monaco has gone the furthest in the state singles tournament in school program history, and potentially second furthest District 4 boys in tennis history. So there's a final, in 2003, there was a Central Columbia athlete who was runner-up. The Lewisburg Green Dragons, now as far as doubles, we're moving on to doubles. So finished regular season doubles win record of 30-2, with such players as Will Cicchini, Sar Vishwakarma, Alexei Rosenberg, Kenyon Schwarzentroober, Grant Rao, Luke Azaredo, Grady Rao, and Colby Jacob, all contributing to the 30-2 record. Devils players had a winning record in the District 4 tournament, 4-1. Devils players in the team state tournament went 2-2. Will and Sar, who are both here, along with Alexi Rosenberg and Kenyon Schwarzentroober, represented the Lewisburg Green Dragons in the 2024 District 4 AA doubles tournament. Will and Sar finished the tournament with a record of 4-0 and were crowned District 4 doubles champions and went on to represent District 4 in the PIAA AA doubles state tournament in Hershey, PA. Alexi and Kenyon went 1-1 in the District 4 doubles tournament. Will and Sar had a record of 3-1 in the 2024 PIAA AA doubles state tournament, eventually placing third in the state tournament. Will and Sar have gone the furthest in the state doubles tournament in school program history and confirmed the furthest District 4 boys tennis duo in history. 3 times a duo from District 4 placed in the doubles state tournament. For the first time in Lewisburg boys tennis history, a singles player and a doubles duo placed and medaled in their respective state tournaments. For the first time in District 4 history, a singles player and doubles duo placed in the top 4 in their respective tournaments, all receiving a medal and being honored on the podium. And so that is just a tremendous accomplishments for the boys tennis team. Will and Sar, thanks for coming tonight. I'm not sure if either of you have any words that you want to say? No? Okay. But I'll just add that attending the matches and seeing the matches, the quality of play was just phenomenal. That and the reason they finished so high in the state is it's easy to see, and it's too bad, honestly. Like, it was great where he ended up in doubles, but it's too bad that you couldn't see where he would end up in singles. So next year, Eddie's graduated. He's gone. So I know what the job is next year, right? So that's where we're at, and I want to thank the board for this time, and I have your certificates. Good job. Great season.
Thank you to all the athletes, and I'm wondering, do the tennis folks know that we're doing the courts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah, they mentioned the track, I just wanted to make sure. Trying to get all around Canada.
They're holding hope that they can play in the spring, and last time I thought the coach. So
So are we.
Yeah.
yep, so am I.
Well, congratulations, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, even after school is over. But we really like to recognize everyone, and we have some amazing accomplishments. So just congratulations again. And now what we do is a lot of like budgets and stuff, so you don't have to stay.
Thanks, you guys.
Is there anyone in the room who has a citizen's comment to the board on an agenda item? Is there anything online?
Nothing online.
All right.
We can excuse Mr. Long.
Yes, Mr. Long, I
as
think
well.
it's only fair that we also, thank you so much for being here though, and for the report.
And before we start down through the rest of our business meeting, I'll point out that Brianna Olszewski is here with us. Brianna's on our personnel report, coming to us having worked this year as a para, but this coming year, now as a teacher in our middle school in the special education department. Welcome and congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. It's wonderful not only to be alumni, but now officially be a teacher. My dreams are coming true. So thank you so much.
Thanks for saying that. Well, we'll try to move kind of
Move
quickly so you
things
get to see the whole thing. All right, the next item is the Pennsylvania Youth Survey results.
All right, John's gonna run my PowerPoint slides for you. I intend to then share these with you. Tonight I did 10 slides to try to give an overview, The PAYS report, when it comes back to us, is indeed 155 pages of good information. It comes to us two ways. It comes to us with a county level report and then very school specific, and it comes with each and every question answered by each grade level that takes part in the survey, 6, 8, 10, 12. So it's an incredible amount of information. My intention tonight with these slides is to give you the high-level view, some overall information, and some of the statistical results of our survey this year, 6, 8, 10, 12. So John, that first slide that you already have up, Pennsylvania Youth Survey. It's been around since 1989, but we were not participants until 2019. What I do point out, with 3 admissions of it, and that data tabulated for us over 3 admissions, we can now begin to further examine and analyze some trends or patterns, and I think that'll truly be beneficial to us. We did indeed have a robust number of students participate. The 4th paragraph down, 462 responses, 6, 8, 10, and 12. What jumps out is the very small number of seniors. But I promised Paula I would also point out 20 plus kids at early college in Bloom, 20 plus students at Sun Tech not taking the survey, and as we were all at graduation last week, a smaller graduating class. So while that number looks small, it is reflective of our seniors present when the survey was administered. It is completely voluntary. They can opt to not even answer single questions in the survey, so you get what you get when you administer and you see the responses that we'll take a look at. Tonight, I want to take you through the broad categories that the questions are organized under, topics that I'll show you here, John, in the next slide. They try to survey our students asking about alcohol, tobacco, drug use, depression and mental health, community, school climate and school safety, stressful events and sleep, and then some risk and protective factors. What are our students' self-identified most risks? And what are some of the factors that protect our students from some of those pieces that you see here listed in the survey itself? Go ahead, John. Students answer a number of questions, obviously, as I said to you. The prompts are of 2 types. There are questions in this survey that are just simply yes, no. Have you ever tried alcohol? Have you ever tried a vaping substance? Have you ever? And those are simply yes, no answers. Many more of the questions have prompts that lead to frequency within the last 12 months. So students are asked to very honestly convey whether or not they have. And then those responses in the multiple choice questions are a 4-point or a 5-point Likert scale. They are asked if seldom, often, or regularly, or they're asked if they have tried 1 to 2 times, more than 3, frequently, or even daily. Some of the questions have time span, Likert scale, multiple choice answers. If you look here in my slide that's up currently, they broke down alcohol, tobacco, and drug over vaping products, marijuana and inhalants, other drugs listed as some of the ones that are harder drugs or more concerning, if you will. And then even prescription and over-the-counter drugs was a category in the survey. My generalized statement to you may not surprise any of us. There was greater use across all categories in our higher grade level age students. And I also point out that our results show that vaping products of all types were used more experimentally than tobacco products. Again, probably a reflection of our current as opposed to an older PACE survey that may have shown tobacco use in earlier years. Regular use frequency across all the categories, relatively low. And notice, please, some of our areas of the drug usage were actually reported at 0%, calling to question whether or not there is or isn't an honesty in the answers, or at face value, we might be somewhat pleased to see the very low numbers. John, if you will. I like some of the questioning that followed in this section. One of the areas they try to ascertain is where did the students get the alcohol, tobacco, and drug substances? And these again are kind of a forced choice, multiple choice answering question. But if you read ours, 41.8 of our students say their source were parents and caregivers providing it, followed by the 25.5% that admit or circled the choice that they took it without permission from home or a friend's home. Again, the second piece that I chose to include tonight, you can see the sources for those vaping substances. The most commonly chosen choice was a friend gave it to me for free, and the second source listed was bought it from a store. We have been very tuned into depression and mental health concerns in our district, and the PACE survey attempts to do some measuring in this important area. I did choose to include the relatively small number of questions. So while we seek good information, it is on a smaller scale in the totality of the survey. Please note that the most common depressed thought, the prompt reads, "At times I think I am no good at all." And 34.6% of our students chose that. 30.8% report they felt sad or depressed on most days in the past 12 months. Again, this can inform us and lead us to further thought and analysis of this. PACE reminds us, the two bullets to the bottom of this screen, that obviously there is a correlation between the depressive symptoms and the alcohol, tobacco, and drug usage. And the PACE data also feels that they have a statistically strong relationship correlating students who report being bullied and the depression or even the suicidal behavior. The next slide takes the most recent 15 years of PACE surveys and pulls together what they call risk and protective factors. When you examine school climate and school safety, it's interesting to look at what the students identify as the risk factors present in our community or in their school or within their family structure, and what they identify as their protective factors, factors that mitigate those concerns for safety or mental health. Creating safe, supportive schools, obviously we're about that, and those things are essential. Notice please in that second item listed what this survey attempts to measure: a sense of belonging, a feeling of safety, connectedness, value and responsibility for students' own behavior. So they attempt to measure school climate and safety in 4 ways. How committed and involved are students in our schools? How involved are they in after-school and community programs? What do they perceive as threats or actual violence? And again, the presence of bullying in our students' lives. This slide does have our cumulative reported percentages in the areas that you see. I'm happy to report in the simple yes/no option question, 90.6% of our students indicate they feel safe in our schools. 83+% feel they have opportunity to interact with teachers and staff one-to-one. 91% report they take part in class discussions and learning activities. 94.4%, just as we saw students here tonight, report that they participate in school-based activities. 81% of those activities school-sponsored. They also enjoy family-supported activities and hobbies, and the faith-based activities percentages here as well. I do read the statistic that says 27.3% indicated they experienced bullying in the most recent year. So we certainly want to look at that. Those quotes that follow are those forced choice prompts that make them choose where the source of bullying comes from. They're bullied for the way they look or their size, height, and weight, and they report they're bullied on school property and also online and through social media. One of the other measurements done through the survey questions is to try to examine what the survey calls stressful events. Please notice in the larger font to the top of the slide, they identified death of a family member or a close friend, whether or not our students have to move homes, worrying about enough food, as stressful events. And so there were questions specific to those stressors. The second area was whether or not our students are sleeping sufficiently to ward off some of the issues of mental health or substance use. And so you can see below in the percentages from our students, 32% experienced that unfortunate traumatic event of death of a close friend or family member. 6% of our students report they've had to change homes several times in the most recent year. We've been talking as a board and certainly in our schools about the food insecurity, and 15.5 selected an option as it's worded here, that they will run out of food at home or have skipped a meal because their family did not have money enough for food. And 25.5% of our kids are coming to school sleepy and tired, and actually the number that report sleepy or tired every day or several times a day is that 57%. Finally, these risk and protective factors. The slide is wordy, but if you look at it left to right, scale scoring is possible because PACE has a 30-year history. And as a result of the design of the survey, they identified 20 risk factors and 8 protective factors, and they questioned students whether or not these risk and protective factors exist across 4 domains: their community, their family, within their school, or between they and their peers and other individuals. These scale scores might give us some good indications of where we can work as a school district. The ideal would be how can we minimize the risk factors and their impact, and what might we be able to do to increase, enhance, or support the protective factors, knowing this information. So again, if you look under the number 3 center page, our students chose the highest risk factors among the 20 to be a low commitment towards school or sensation-seeking behavior. Our strongest of the 8 protective factors as measured include family attachment and opportunities for pro-social involvement in our community, families, and schools. And then finally, the last piece, as I've already mentioned, the value to these scale scores and percentages might indeed be the direction we can take from this information in our planning. So in my final slide, I share with you, where do we go from here? I want to come back to the board with a second report after our administrators and good school counselors, social workers, and personnel can dig a little deeper and examine these prompts and responses, as well as our scale scores in the risk and protective factors. I do believe summer provides us opportunity to sit down and look deeper at this information. Today, the PAYS survey released some corrections and updates, so I do believe we now have the most recent information to work from. We have good people in our school counselors, in my second point, and our social workers, and I see us sitting down to brainstorm the possible with them. I also point out, since middle school and high school were the 2 schools surveyed, both buildings have school improvement teams as part of a standard structure within our faculty. And very often from those good teams come additional thoughts and ideas for ways to utilize this information. And finally, I would be remiss, and we'll call it the intro to Vince's presentation next. One of our self-identified goals for comprehensive planning is indeed this very important area of school wellness and school safety. And so information like PAYS data can inform our work going forward in our 3-year comprehensive plan. Questions I might answer tonight, or again, I look forward to coming back and sharing more information with you as we work with the PAYS survey results.
Did any of the numbers surprise you?
The numbers that I've read so far do not surprise me. It is concerning when I read the mental health self-disclosed prompts and answers chosen, to read a percentage of our students being unhappy every day makes me want to look further. I also know when worded prompt answers and you're sitting there and simply choosing, you still want to reconcile that with how authentic or sincere.
Are you able, with our data, to cross-reference? Can you figure out if the kids who report being unhappy every day is a large overlap with the kids who are food insecure, or if there's, or the kids who are
You could not,
tired?
because every question is anonymous, autonomous, and
That's kind of tough because,
yeah.
I mean,
And I think we
Yeah.
have to be careful not to draw statistical significance and correlation
right, if they don't give it to us,
necessarily
yeah.
linking things together, but rather at face value, what are they telling us they're feeling or experiencing, and to look at it that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, was there any big trends from the last time?
And that's what I look forward, looking at 3 years worth, so those charts and graphs have just been released. And I do think that is good information to examine. I like that we now, when we did our first administration, we simply looked at them. Our second gave us some comparison. I think with 3, the data becomes richer and more telling. Yes.
Kathy, the extent of the survey is not released to the public, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we don't have, one of the downfalls of this is we have information for the county, but within our county, there's very different school districts.
Yeah.
So we don't have the extent of what you have sitting in front of you for other, maybe like, more similar districts within the IU.
So
correct?
what we have then is now our own individual district, our question by question answers, and they're referenced and couched with the state percentage, so we can compare to state. Reminder that state is 500 school districts if they all participate. But you're right, there's no similar kinds of school districts to us comparison based on factors that I'm not sure they would even
Sorry,
use.
I was just curious.
That is a limitation.
I see, yeah.
I thought that was the case, but I couldn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they won't release the data to us, right?
Of,
Oh, like anonymous data, like student level? Cause like this is a report right with at the school level, at the district level, we have.
I actually, one of their reports is how in aggregate totals, the number of students at each grade level that answered each question and the way they answered it, certainly no deeper than that.
Yeah.
I think they also have to be a little careful about that. You know, I mean, we want students to take this survey. And we have to be able to use what we learn from it to try to, you know, make things better, give them tools, things like that. But comparing ourselves with other, I'm just not sure that that would feel like in the spirit of the survey for anonymity.
Justin, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mrs. Moser, I'd be interested in the 25% or 25+% of students who said they're getting less than 7 hours of sleep. I'd be interested to know how that breaks down by grade level. And if we're seeing that more at the high school level than we are at the middle school level. And if that kind of corresponds to our school start times and whether we need to kind of take a look at that.
Yeah, good place, we can do a dedicated, a focused look at that. Yep, absolutely.
All right, if there are no other questions, I'm sure we'll be talking about this again when we have some time. So Vince, if you want to take the covering of the time.
Sure. All right, there's lots of documents on your device there. I didn't print them because it's a lot of paper, as you can see in this folder. As John pulls that up, I'll walk you through kind of the highlights. Again, the plans are there for you to review. They're also on our website as of before the board meeting. There's many, many plans that go with this plan, so if you want some good reading, it is there for you to look at. The comp plan itself is 51 pages. But this is a culmination of 6 months of work, started in January, and we've had lots of meetings. Our steering committee was 28 people deep. We had a community survey that went out to Lewisburg and 476 responses to analyze and review. We had a community forum where we got some additional good feedback for our plan. I'm going to take you through some highlights. I already reviewed a lot of this with you at a previous board meeting, but this is kind of that final draft before I ask for your approval in the July meeting before we submit it to the state. So just a quick overview. Here we go. Go back one. Overview, comprehensive planning happens every 3 years. It's oftentimes done as a compliance measure, but it's a document to help us move forward for continuous improvement. So it is super important. I put a lot of value into this, bringing together lots of different stakeholders. We had many people involved in that, the 28 before. This is a cycle they kind of give to us as a way of setting the direction for the district, looking at our needs, looking at our challenges, looking at strengths, and how can we get better in this process. So, as I mentioned, lots of different groups. Administration was a part of this, as well as our teachers. They were at their own meetings at our in-service days. They have been part of this for assessing our needs. Thank you to Jordan and Ashley for being a part of our steering committee as well. We had staff from each building there. We had parents from each building, and our goal was to get a lot of student voice as well. And so we also had some student forums to have more voices at the table. And then these folks came to our steering committee meetings and provided a great asset to those meetings as well. So 28 people on the steering committee, but many, many other voices were also heard from. So this is our current vision and mission from the last comprehensive plan. It's on our website. And you can see it listed here. You might all know this by heart right now, but Ashley wants to recite it. Kind of the consensus of the group was that it's a bit long, and they wanted to be a little bit more succinct. Can we know what it is to really capture and know what our vision is and what our mission is? And so we looked at our current one, and we talked about what vision and mission mean. And so we have bringing to the table a potential new vision and mission for the district. Again, vision is kind of what you aspire to be as a district. What do we hope our district aspires to? And then mission is how you get to that vision. So our new vision is the Lewisburg Area School District is a learning community, cultivating inclusive environments, empowering effective educators, and providing valuable resources for all students to belong, explore, and learn. Those 3 words at the end are also in our mission. And those are the kind of key things. We want our students to feel that they belong. We want them to explore lots of different things. And we want them ultimately to learn lots as well while they're with us. And then those 3 words make up our mission statement, which is we belong, we explore, we learn. 6 words, but it's the driving force to get us to that vision. So I'd love your feedback on that. If you have any thoughts afterwards, that's what we're kind of putting into the plan as the potential vision and mission. Commitments were something, it might have been 2 comp plans ago, Kathy, that those were
Yes.
created. We put this into our survey and just said, community, do you still value these things, or should we be committed to these things? On the left side, you'll see the percentages on their agreement with those topics, and we felt all of them are very high percentages, and so we plan on keeping these commitments in our plan. If you're looking at the comp plan itself, they're listed as values in there, but in a document that we put out, we'll list them as commitments, synonymous terms, but all good things. We're committed to these things as a district. And then also in the plan, you'll see different stakeholder groups, what their part of that is. Some of them overlap. Staff is on there, administration, students and parents and community members are listed in the plan itself. So we've had the steering committee that came up with strengths as well as our community survey. So I'm going to share with you the strengths and challenges before we get into some goals. I shared this with you before, so I'll go kind of quickly on these, but high proficiency in English and math, careers, standards, benchmark. Our staff saw this in our actual data on the Future Ready PA Index. High graduation rates, we're looking at that data that is provided. So our staff and the steering committee came up with these strengths. A rigorous math curriculum, retaining high quality teachers, and having lots of opportunities for our students were noted by the steering committee. The community survey, lots of data, almost too much to even kind of read through because it's so much data, it's all in narrative format. So we used some AI to kind of pull that together and get a good sense of what was the things that came to the top of the list. So our community felt that safety and support were a strength of ours, that our parents feel that our kids are safe when they're with us, which is great. Excellence in academics is also noted as a strength, and our arts and music programs were also listed as a high on the list. as well as an involved community, which is definitely evident from my time here in my last year, opportunities available, and then the leadership of administration and board leadership was commended as well through the survey. As far as challenges, steering committee mentioned these kind of 6 items as far as we need to continue to work on our staff and student well-being. Mentioned as well in our phase data there, that we need to make sure we're focusing on that as well as amount of sleep that they get. We need to always look at our curriculum and our course offerings, and then we're evaluating and making sure those are the best offerings. Our tech reliability was a challenge. Communication was mentioned in 4 and 6. How we communicate to our families, via parents, as well as with our stakeholders, and also bridging the achievement gap with some of our subgroup populations. Community survey mentioned athletics as a big topic as challenges. They're going to be asked for what do you think our challenges are? Athletics facilities were something that was mentioned. I felt that potentially, we mentioned tonight, tennis and track projects aren't really known as far as the community being aware of those projects potentially. So that was mentioned in the survey a lot, just overall facilities. Technology was also mentioned in the community survey. The need for more diversity training was mentioned by the survey. Communication, again, back to the other list, as well as there are some budgetary constraints because we've talked about that before as far as not getting funds from the state and from federal funds as much as other neighboring districts. So because of that, we've got 5 different goals that came above. We had 4 initially, and our community forum actually came up with the 5th one. And so goal number 1, you can see these in the plan. The plan itself doesn't print real well because it's just a portal document, 51 pages. We're going to create a document that's a little bit more forward-facing rather than giving a 51-page out to the community, but it is posted on the website for review. Goal 1 is student learning, which again is a school district that should be our focus to provide rigorous, relevant, engaging opportunities for students. And so we've got objectives for each of those that we want to continue to do over the next 3 years. So they're listed there. You can see them on your screen as well. Looking at our curriculum frameworks, looking at structured literacy for K to 5, but actually K to 2 is a focus. STEEL standards are coming for the following year for science, making sure that they're integrated into our curriculum frameworks. Looking at MTSS, AI is a topic for us at the committee meeting. That's going to be something that we need to look at in the future and doing some PD around that. And then PD in general, making sure we're investing in professional development. Goal 2, one more. The last 2 on there are opportunities that we want to have for our students. So partnerships with businesses, with universities, with organizations. How do we bring those things in to have additional things for our students to do, as well as making sure that they're ready for post-secondary. Goal 2 focuses on safety and the well-being, providing a safe and welcoming learning environment that promotes a positive well-being for students as well as staff. These first 2 are focusing on the safety aspect, making sure our EOPs, emergency operation plans, are up to date. We've been reviewing those this school year. We want to make sure they're up to date and out to our buildings. Doing safety and security inspections at each building and making sure helping us to prioritize our needs as far as safety. The other ones here are focused on the well-being side of it, making sure that our students feel they have someone to go to and talk to, a teacher, a paraprofessional. They got someone that they know is a trusted adult. Was a big piece of that. As well as our MTSS process, and then the counseling piece is another focus. We do a lot of those things now, but can we improve additional opportunities for students to have group and individual counseling? Goal 3 is on inclusive practices. We talked about the best name for this is equitable practices, student-centered practices. We centered on inclusive practices to cultivate inclusive practices by providing opportunities for student voice, as well as creating a culture of belonging. So over here we talked about making the experience of our special ed learners better, as well as our English language learners. How can we make those services the best in the area, as well as relationship building from our teachers and our students, We did this through this process, having student advisory, or student forums, but having that ongoing throughout the school year. Maybe it's quarterly, maybe it's, twice a year, bringing together a group of students to say, this is what we feel is happening and get their feedback is a great practice for us to include. And also some PD we want to put in place around universal design for learning, which focuses on inclusive practices, as well as doing a plan for trauma-informed practices. A lot of our grants for PCCD tie to trauma-informed practices, and so they say that we're going to work on a plan for that. So there's a model plan out there by the state. So taking that as a starting point and making one for Lewisburg as a goal for this comp plan. Goal 4 is enhancing infrastructure. So looking at facilities, focusing mainly on elementary and middle school as places that need to be rejuvenated to promote access and continued academic excellence is another goal in the plan. These ones are focusing on that building structure, so looking at the facilities plan that we talk about here in board meetings, looking at resource allocation, how can we modernize some of the middle school areas we discussed at the last board meeting. And so again, security, access, as well as potentially thinking about a connector building between Lintown and the middle school, if that's something maybe many years out down the road, but maybe it's something we need to consider and think about for the future. And then lastly, for goal 4 is looking at our technology infrastructure, as well as continued partnerships with the community that will help us to enhance infrastructure. And the one that we added after the community forum is effective communication. How do we improve those practices and streamline district communication? One of those things is we've got 5 different Facebook channels, one for each building as well as the district one. Can we have one voice on Facebook? So maybe having them being consolidated is a goal potentially for this summer, as a goal for this plan. Looking at our website, that's a hub of information. Make sure that it's a good spot for people to find it very easily for a good user experience. So, and streamlining how we even give out messages via text. And when do we give them out? Having best practices around that. At what time is the best way to give out a communication to our staff as well as our families? What else is on there? Just family awareness of all of the programs that are out there. There were some at our committee and our community forum that were just unaware of certain things. How do we best tell our story about what's available in our district? And lots of good things happening, but are they aware of all those things? So those are the 5 goals that are laid out, the objectives, and the goal is to get to 2 or 3 of those objectives per year as we work to get to all of them or make progress towards all of them. Additionally, in my large folder here is all the additional plans that go with the comp plan. 5 extra plans there, again, all on your board docs. Some of them are assurances where we're checking boxes, yes, this is in place. Others are more formal plans that need to be created. So gifted education plan assurances, special ed plans on a different cycle. That was done maybe 2 years ago. And so that's one it's on a different cycle than these plans. Induction plan, the big change for that is we're moving from a 1-year induction to a 2-year induction process. So we need to have more conversations on what that means as far as mentors, where we've got a plan laid out on what that would look like, but how does that mentor play into year 2? There's some further discussion. That's a separate plan, that's actually 2 plans in your board docs. The professional development that is laid out in the comprehensive plan is kind of repeated in that final professional development plan. Plus a couple extra ones that we're planning on doing in the next 3 years. I want you to be aware of all of those. Again, all of these things are posted on our website. We're going to put a Facebook post out there pointing community to review. Next steps is the 28-day public review period. So as you can see, our list is longer than this, but as we work down, today we're presenting to the board for information. 28 days gets us to our next board meeting in July, or the one in July, and that would be when you would approve this. And then we'd have to submit this to PDE before July 31st. But lots of good work setting the direction for the district. It's great to be a part of it in my first year here, to be a part of that process and meet a lot of people throughout that, and thank you for those involved that took the survey as well as in the committee meetings. But questions for me, for Kathy, for John, would be great to have right now.
Anybody have any questions?
Lots to review on your spare time in the next 28 days. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't want to trivialize how much work that is. I feel like we all got a chance to review.
Yep, it's 100 pages, I think, so, good work.
Yeah. But I'm happy to see the communication piece that we talked about.
Yep,
So I think that came up quite well. All right, our next item for board action, old business, is to adopt the 24-25 budget. So I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Haynos,
Second.
second by Dr. Grant. Any discussion? All right.
Mrs. Krause,
Yes.
Dr. Mattis,
Yes.
Ms. Stanton,
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer,
Yes.
Dr. Grant,
Yes.
Ms. Haynos,
Yes.
Mr. Heath,
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Our next item is the tax levy resolution. John, I just want to remind people that we have to do this every year, right?
Yes, this is part of passing the budget, so now we have to levy the taxes to help pay for it.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Krause,
Second.
second by Dr. Grant. Any discussion? Paula?
Dr. Mattis,
Yes.
Ms. Stanton,
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer,
Yes.
Dr. Grant,
Yes.
Ms. Haynos,
Yes.
Mr. Heath,
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski,
Yes.
Mrs. Krause.
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next item is the homestead farmstead resolution. I don't know if you want to provide any context for this for all the viewers at home?
Yes, this is your opportunity to accept the funding from the state for the homestead farmstead reduction in certain property tax bills. So I definitely recommend that you approve that this evening.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Stanton,
Second.
second by Ms. Krause. Any discussion? Okay, Paula?
Ms. Stanton,
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer,
Yes.
Dr. Grant,
Yes.
Ms. Haynos,
Yes.
Mr. Heath,
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski,
Yes.
Mrs. Krause,
Yes.
Dr. Mattis.
Yes.
Motion carried.
In our next area, board action, new business, I need to ask for a motion to add an agenda item for an MOU.
So moved.
Okay, so the motion, are you familiar with this, Paula? Okay.
Second.
Thank you. So, motion made by Ms. Krause, second by Ms. Stanton. We can do this by voice vote. All in favor of adding an agenda item, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Oh, thank you. No, were any opposed? Okay. So with that, Mrs. Moser, would you mind introducing the agenda item? We just had, you have it in front of you.
Yes, I'd ask the board tonight to take action on a memorandum of understanding between the Lewisburg School District and Paula Reber as we work with Paula toward her decision to retire as high school principal, and the MOU has the information there for you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the MOU?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Krause, second by Dr. Grant. Any discussion? Okay. Paula?
Mr. Fetzer,
Yes.
Dr. Grant,
Yes.
Ms. Haynos,
Yes.
Mr. Heath,
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski,
Yes.
Mrs. Krause,
Yes.
Dr. Mattis,
Yes.
Ms. Stanton,
Yes.
motion carried.
And then moving on to our regular items, the elementary literacy coach job description.
Thank you, I'll take that one as well. We'd like to work on our structured literacy, early elementary reading program by adding this layer of a coach. This is one of our own staff members who would be assigned to this position as a pilot for the coming school year. The job description outlines the responsibilities for this individual.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Sims, second by Ms. Haynos. Any discussion?
Dr. Grant,
Yes.
Ms. Haynos,
Yes.
Mr. Heath,
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski?
Yes.
Mrs. Kraus?
Yes.
Dr. Mattis?
Yes.
Ms. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer?
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next two items on the agenda, I think Mrs. Moser would say, these are corrections to language resulting from the recent support staff handbook changes. Does that kind of capture everything?
It is. The revised administrator job description that you have for student services reflects the actual scope of the position and clarified language, and the support staff job descriptions for our administrative assistants likewise updates language to actually encompass the responsibilities entailed in the jobs.
Thank you. So I think both of these can be done just by voice vote, if they are just revisions. So do I hear a motion to approve the revised administrator job description?
Motion.
Moved by Dr. Grant,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Enos. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. And for the next one, the revised support staff job descriptions, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion.
Moved by Dr. Grant, seconded by Ms. Kraus. Any discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The delay is funny. All right, motion passes, thank you. Okay, some board information. Do you want to start off?
Sure. So this one, we talked about middle school at the last board meeting on doing some upgrades there. We have two already in place with the roofing project happening right now, as well as our wiring project. This would be for doing some brick cleaning and refreshing, as well as brick sealing of the gym hallway, all the way down to the main lobby, as well as the area in front of the cafeteria there. Cleaning brick as well as sealing it, as well as the curved wall in the lobby at the middle school, prepping that for a new surface. That would involve taking down some murals as well. We're planning on capturing those, capturing the legacy of those murals in a separate project. But looking to potentially information tonight, if you would like to approve that would be fine too, but information is fine for a project this summer to take place.
Does anybody have any questions about this project?
Would that, if we approved it this evening, would that move up the timetable in a helpful way for you?
It would help us, it would help the painter to get it on his schedule for mid-July, which would be great to have it happen before the school year starts. It could still potentially happen without doing that, but again, it helps putting on his schedule for his own certainty for scheduling his guys. So.
Is this a quote that came through the consortium?
Nope, this is under the bid threshold, so this is a local contractor.
Okay.
We looked at potentially doing a much bigger scope of project, which would involve going multiple bids or doing via PEPM or KPM. This is under the bid threshold, so we can find a contractor to do this work under the 12-2 mark.
Okay. And it's a local person?
Yep.
Great.
Is there any potential for an alternative or the value in getting that, or do we feel like this guy is probably the lowest and best?
Yeah, I feel like it's a good bid. I mean, we looked at doing all the hallways, brick cleaning as well as painting all hallways. We have a quote for that, and this is kind of in line with a portion of the school. So I thought it was a fair bid for getting the project started, and then potentially doing more of this project in the coming summer. So I thought it was in line, actually a pretty respectable price for that, for what he's doing.
And how long will it take to do this?
3 to 5 days.
Yeah, it's about a week, yep. So,
I was gonna say, is there a reason to do it a bit at a time or all together?
well, we do have the wiring project and roofing. I don't know if he can fit the entire scope of the project this summer, so we wanted to just get started, get a taste of what brick cleaning and sealing will look like as far as refreshing and just getting that project started. And then see if it looks good, looks like a good plan of action, continue this following summer. But it's busy right now in the school with the wiring going on and cleaning as well. So it allows our guys to clean our classrooms and our other spaces. So he's currently doing a project at another local school district. When that finishes up, it would be next in queue if approved tonight. Even if it's not approved tonight, it would potentially still be in line to happen in July, which makes his timeline as far as not being aware if it's going to go through or not, so.
Is there a concern about ventilating the area properly for either him and other people who may have to be in the building? Because July is gonna be hot and it just sounds like it could be a lot of kind of toxic smelling fumes.
Yeah, I don't know
We
if
had Mr. Cross on site, he assured us the challenges and difficulties, very much in keeping with their manner by which they do the cleaning and sealing, so I trust the guy who does this, as his work.
This might be a really silly question, but from this, maybe I'm misreading it, but it sounds like the bricks are really dirty, because it says, restore to original consistent color. So, I mean, are they especially dirty in that?
Not necessarily especially dirty, but kids touching them walking down the hallway just over many, many years. If you look at the very top, it's a lot different, it's a little different as far as the grout and things like that. So it's gonna be sealed as well, so easier for future cleaning. It's gonna have a matte finish, you can do a matte or a shiny finish, we're gonna go with a matte finish. But again, easier for it to clean as well. It's also gonna, when there's banners up and there's other posters and there's a bulletin board, those are gonna be coming down. He's also addressing holes that are in mortar as far as there's anchors and things like that. So addressing all of that in the scope of this work too.
Sounds like we can do it tonight or we can wait. Thinking of fumes, it'd be nice to not have it happen like the day before school opens up.
Yes.
Or if the sealant has any odor to it.
I'll make a motion that we approve this bid.
So moved, do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Ms. Kraus. Any further discussion about doing it? I really didn't think much about it, but yes, they did it in August and then kids are right in, it's like 10 times new car smell, you know? Also, we get to try out this particular contractor and see if this is a good way to go for the future work. Great. Paula?
Ms. Haynos?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski?
Yes.
Ms. Kraus?
Yes.
Dr. Mattis?
Yes.
Ms. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer?
Yes.
Dr. Grant?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item is the board president's report. I'll keep it very brief. I really do want to thank everyone for putting together what they have over the last couple of weeks, and Cory and I have seen sort of the back end of that as well, but John working all of the budget things, Kathy has been looking at the pays and all the staffing issues, Vince carrying on all the comprehensive planning, and it's a lot, and it's the end of the year, and we also have some pretty big changes in staffing to come, so that's, things are always moving, even though it's summer. I'm away next board meeting, and I'm unable to participate via Zoom, so Cory will be in charge. And I'm going to keep my comments short, and I'm also going to answer a text because my daughter's in kindergarten, she got a flag tonight, and she's somewhere out there in the hallway. Kathy?
So I'll move right on with my report. Mine, as Aaron's, is one of expression of gratitude. In our consent agenda, you'll see one from Villager Realty, who made a very nice donation to offset student lunch debt. We're appreciative of that. And always the continued good work of our foundation. Mrs. Glock sent today some wonderful numbers about their good work and where they're at with some of their initiatives and targeted fundraising on our behalf. To the excellent work of our principals and full administrative team, we've had a busy year. We've had a full year, and here in June, it's great if they can take a step back and enjoy some downtime, but it's been a very good team They've worked wonderfully this year. I can tell you much about the many good things that characterize this school year. I think our celebration of graduation was truly genuine, and it too just reflects what a positive year. I am gonna call out Vince a little bit. This is very careful and deliberate work to get this plan configured into the state's template, and our resulting plan is great guidance for the next 3 years. So thank you, Vince, and I think you can all readily see how well done this plan is. And finally, my personal and professional expression of gratitude and appreciation for our high school principal, Paula Reber. She's been an amazing administrator for 34 years and a most valued professional colleague and friend of mine. We look forward to celebrating with Paula as she prepares for her retirement, and her transition plan includes starting our year next year and making sure that our administrative team for the high school is in a good position to continue going forward. And so I'll end my report with that tonight.
I know we don't have any official board liaison and committee reports. Several of us tried to attend the SunTech graduation ceremony this year, but it was thunder and lightning out. And so Jordan, thank you for representing us. Do you have any highlights that you want to share?
It was sunny and beautiful.
Well, there you go. Great day, right? And also, I forgot to say this during my president's report because of the color guard person waiting for me, but I thought graduation went really, really well this year. And I got so many nice comments about your Bob Dylan quote.
They
Next
must
up,
be older people, but it's okay.
Dylan's classic.
That's right, classic.
So next up is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to, does anybody need anything held out? Do I hear a motion to approve?
Just that it's revised.
Right, with the revised personnel report.
Thank you.
Dr. Grant,
Second.
second by Ms. Stanton. All right, any discussion?
Ms. Munoz? Yes. Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski?
Yes.
Mrs. Kraus?
Yes.
Dr. Mattis?
Yes.
Ms. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer?
Yes.
Dr. Grant?
Yes.
Motion carried.
At this time, we'll have any citizens' comments to the board on non-agenda items. Has anyone, oh, we should say congratulations, by the way, we're on that revised personnel report. I'm sorry we do that so far at the end, but you got to see some good stuff tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
So our next item, citizens' comments to the board on non-agenda items. Anyone? No, nothing online either.
What is Principal Reber's last day? Principal Reber's last day.
November 30.
Thank you.
All right, we'll do director's comments, and Justin, how about if I go to you first?
Sure, I don't have much. Just congratulations to all our student athletes for great work in the spring. And thanks for bearing with me on Zoom tonight.
Thanks for joining. Dr. Dan?
Thanks, Ms. Moser, for presenting about the PAE survey. I think that's really interesting, and that along with the steering committee work, I think, provides really nice thoughts moving forward right into the next school year. The work never ends. But it's all exciting things. I think it's some great directions and a lot of thoughtful work, right, that goes on behind the scenes. You know, your administration really cares and stuff. We're all thank you.
I'd like to echo that as well. I mean, we keep kind of hitting on some of the same themes, you know, the desire to belong. And I appreciate the time that went into gathering everyone together and to come to agreement on, you know, that being a recurring theme, and the mental health of the students being a recurring need. You know, how can we really make sure that we're coming up with new and different ways to figure out how to address that, which I do think we have done a fair bit of that in the past year, putting different things in place to do the best that we can, but obviously it's still a persistent concern. A highlight though is that the general feeling of safety in our schools. I was really pleased to see that.
Several things. Thank you for the excusal of last meeting. Thanks for, I called Kathy and was like, I feel like I don't want to skip the meeting, but I feel like I need to be at Suntec. So thanks for those who attended or attempted to attend the first iteration of the award ceremony over there. It did go very well the second evening, and we had much better weather. So sorry to miss last board meeting. Graduation as well in the district went very well. Again, just a lot of good feedback, so that went so smoothly. Vince, thank you for all the work. Because of some tech obligations, I also had to miss a couple of those meetings, but the meetings that I was at, everything went very well, and I thought that you led that. Again, it was a very smooth process, so thank you for leading that so well, bringing that back to us this evening for consideration. I think a great testament to the things that we do here in the district is to see alumni come back and wanting to work for us. There were two at least that I am aware of this evening that were approved. So again, that's just great to see that the folks want to join us even after they've graduated from the district. And I think it speaks volumes to the things that we're doing here that people want to come back. So it's great to see that this evening.
Mary Ann.
Congratulations to our new teachers that are on the personnel report. It's always good to see folks coming in all fresh and ready to go. So excited about that. It was great to see the students. It was a nice little surprise. I mean, I knew they were on the agenda, but I was really happy that we had so many of them. That was fun. The reports are always really interesting to me. Pays, I'm still was surprised when I first started and we weren't doing it. So I was so pleased that we are doing this survey now and that it can help guide us towards making things better. And Dr. Fairchild, thank you for all your hard work. Mr. Rupert, thank you for all your hard work. These things are, the amount of work that goes into them. You apologize for all the reading. Don't apologize for all the reading. We need to do that. And having all that information is really great. So thank you.
Yeah, congratulations to everyone that was recognized, everyone that's on the personnel report. I too find the pay survey really interesting because I think, as we say to parents, we want to hear from you, we want to know what's going on. I think hearing it from the students as well is super important. It obviously shows us things that we need to work on, but I think one highlight is the fact that 81% of our students are involved in something with the school. Again, Heather referenced it, but one of the biggest things that we can do for mental health, for safety, for all those things is making sure that our students feel like they belong to something. So I think 81% is a pretty decent number for that, for being involved in the school. We can also always reach out and try and get that last 20%, but that was a nice thing to see.
Brianna, congratulations. That fellow sitting behind you, would you happen to know him at all?
A little bit, no relation.
Yeah.
Maybe you know each other.
I sort of knew that you had the same last name.
Coincidence.
Is that your dad?
It is, yes.
Tell him I expect to shake his hand before he leaves tonight. I might have run into him somewhere 8,000 times. Good to see you, Steve.
I have nothing to add except gratitude, and it was really nice to see the turnout that we did, and nice remarks. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Enos.
Second.
Second by Ms. Kraus. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're gonna go to executive session, don't forget. And Justin will call you.